Hi, welcome to another video. This is Bharat Divyan from Zugzwang Academy. So this is in continuation with the last two videos. 2 weeks back, I had posted a video on the power of double checks. If you've not seen that video yet, I'd strongly suggest you have a look at it. Uh, Primarily because I think double check is the most powerful weapon, tactical weapon in chess, and understanding that becomes very, very important. Last week we did a video on how counterintuitive puzzles shape the way we kind of think in chess because it breaks the patterns. Now, this is a culmination of both of those. This is a puzzle where white needs to checkmate in two moves, and it strongly has an element of double check. So, I would suggest that you pause the video here, take your time, even if it means a lot of time, to really crack this puzzle. I mean, this is something which will define you as an intermediate to an advanced player if you're able to crack it. Doesn't matter how much time you take, but you should definitely try to solve this problem. It's not a simple one. It's very simple at a particular level in case you understand patterns, but if you don't, then it is going to take and test your limits, definitely. So give it a shot. You need to go through the process. You know that the process is called productive struggle. Productive struggle is what will make you get better at chess. It'll ensure that the neural connections needed for you to observe these patterns become better. If you just look at the solution, you're going to miss it. So take your time, try to solve it, break your head against the wall to get this thing, and I hope you're able to achieve it. In case you're not, then you can click the play button and continue to watch and see what the solution is. Okay, welcome back. I hope you went through your productive struggle. You tried to solve the problem. And if you did, congratulations, that's fantastic. Please leave your comments in the comment section about how much time it took you. If not, let's start looking at how this problem is going to play out. Okay, now interestingly, this might look like a kind of a setup problem, which could be possible. It's also possible that it's actually in a game. It doesn't matter. But there's a situation we are in. King is cornered. The pieces around it. You know that there's already a discovered check waiting to happen. So the bishop is attacking the king. All the rook has to do is move. So the first and foremost step is to go through your traditional algorithm like CKAD, check, kill, attack, defend. You know there is a check, so you can start by thinking about, okay, let me move this rook anywhere. For instance, if I do this, what happens? It's a check. So obviously the knight can't move because it's under pin. So you move here, and then you realize that this is checkmate. This checkmate in two moves seems to be perfectly alright. The problem is, this is where the beauty of the puzzle is, because there's one small pawn here. So when you move the rook here, you can push the pawn, then you give a check, and then he moves it, and then it's a checkmate. But now it's a checkmate in three moves, not a checkmate in two moves. So that's the function of the pawn on f4, to ensure that the checkmate gets delayed by one move. But still you can do it in two moves if you think about it. Now, you could have also taken the rook somewhere else, but that just delays things even more, because then you have a check, bishop takes it, king moves, and there's no checkmate. That's immediately possible. That's one of the reasons why we chose rook to f1, because you pin the knight. Is there any other possibility? What else can be done here? So let's think about it. So we have exhausted two of this. But what if I capture the pawn? Now here's the problem, because the knight comes out, you take it with the bishop, king moves out, and it goes into the third move. So there's no more a checkmate in two moves. So taking the pawn is not going to work. A rook f1 is not going to work. So what else can I do? Now you have to go back to the principles of Zugzwang and say that, no, what other forcing move can I do? Because it check as a forcing move is not working out. Okay, so here comes the idea of a double check. Now imagine if the knight or the rook didn't exist. Then the same rook would be delivering a check in addition to the bishop check. So now comes the challenge of maybe allowing the knight or rook to move. And now you realize that actually black is in a form of zugzwang here, because let's for a second assume that we make a waiting move like this. Okay, and imagine that the rook moves somewhere here. Now can you find a checkmate in one move? And the answer is yes, because this is checkmate in one move. Why? Because you have two different checks and there's no way that both of them can be defended at the same time except for the king to move, and the king can't move thanks to the knight. Okay, now let's assume that instead of the rook, the knight moved. Even here you have a checkmate in two moves. Why? Because again, it's two different checks. So now the whole idea is to make one of these pieces move, right? Because they're not going to move by themselves. And if you make this waiting move, what is the other thing they can do? They don't have to move rook right? They can just move the king away. And now you don't have any checkmate in one move, right? So the rook or the knight moves, yes. And you also have the other problem of the knight capturing the rook, which means you don't have a checkmate in the first place. In the sense, if you were to just make a waiting move, he captures this, that also doesn't work. So now comes the challenge of being able to resolve all of this. Okay, and it's not a straightforward, step by step, let me get the next move here. It's going to be a bit of a challenge here to think about the best move. Call it intuition, but if you've done these kind of puzzles a lot, you'll realize that the best move here is queen h3. Why? Because if the knight captures, then it falls into a pattern of being able to deliver the double check. If the rook captures, then it ensures that I have a double check in the other form. And the king can't escape here thanks to the queen controlling the square. So all three problems have been kind of taken care of. So now you can think, okay, what else can I do? What if the knight captures the rook? Then the beauty of this puzzle is that there is a completely different checkmate. Not the double check, but a completely different checkmate. So you can't do that either. What if the knight moves somewhere else? Then we are in the same process of a double checkmate which cannot be stopped. And the rook can't move because he's underpinned, and the king can't move. So the only options available here is that the knight captures the queen, rook captures the queen, knight moves to e2, or knight moves and captures the rook on f3. So as you can see, the puzzle works because you are using the principle of zugzwang, which is to make a move to remove all his freedom, to reduce all his freedom. So if you go back and think about this, the freedom that black has is to move the knight, move the rook, or move the king. You want to reduce this. So rook can move here or here. The knight can move to three different squares. The king can move to this square. So what you're trying to do is using the move of queen h3 to reduce that freedom by manifolds, right? Like it completely cuts off the freedom. The rook can't move along the second rank. He's pinned. He's forced to capture the queen because he can't move anywhere else. The knight can capture either rook or queen or move to e2. Doesn't matter where he does, everything is a checkmate. That's the power of the puzzle. I hope you're able to appreciate the beauty of this puzzle. If so, please share your ideas in the comments, your thoughts in the comments. I'd be happy to read and respond. Please share, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.